Okay, I think we have a good number now, so I will start. Just so you guys know, at the end of the session, we will be able to open the floor for questions. So please write them down and we will get to them at the end. All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming today. I really appreciate it. My name is Lexi Watts. I am a price reporter and analyst for the Hyde Bulletin for the Jacobson. And today we're going to go over the latest in the industry. First, we'll go over the methodology for price reporting and analysis for the Hyde Price Guide. We speak with a variety of market players daily who report market news and recent trades for the various selections within the market. A full list of what Hyde selections we cover can be found on our website. All individuals are required to follow industry agreed upon rules to ensure the transparency and accuracy of our pricing. Our prices are based on trades, bids, offers, and price assessment by the analysts. You can find the full methodology and reporting rules at the following link. Now we will get into a brief overview of the history of the Hyde market. As you can see, there was a significant price decline over the past 8 years. One popular selection, for example, heavy native steers, lost about 70% of its value over the past 8 years. Now, why was there such a drastic price decline? It's because of various issues due to macroeconomic environment, as well as a change of trends. In 2015, the historically high price of hides led leather designers to search for more economically attractive alternatives, such as synthetic materials. Synthetic fibers gained popularity due to the abundance of the material, being a derivative of the crude petroleum market, but also gained popularity due to low cost, ease of manufacturing. Brands heavily pushed consumers to believing that synthetic fibers offered themselves as a more environmentally friendly alternative, which encouraged the sustainable textile movement within the industry. In doing so, cattle hides lost significant value to the competition, as we can see from 2015 to now. Hides fell to all-time lows in 2020, as you can see the sharp decline around April 2020, during the COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic slowed consumer spending due to the government-imposed lockdowns worldwide. Meanwhile, supply was building due to strong beef demand. The lifted restrictions brought demand back to finished leather as consumers shopped more because of the pent-up demand from being in lockdown. This was seen in several industries that included hides in their products. But at the beginning of last year, at the start of the war in Ukraine, which provoked the energy crisis in the EU, as well as the continued COVID restrictions in place in China, which have recently been lifted, and supply chain disruptions, all weighed on price improvements in the hide market because demand was impacted by these events, causing high inflation, high interest rates. So where are we now? Currently, the industry faces a difficult economic environment, which has slowed finished leather demand. Inflation is just above 4%, and the Federal Reserve is expected to increase rates again to try to suppress inflation. This comes after 10 consecutive rate hikes and a recent pause. Shoppers hold their money closer to their chests as they grapple with higher mortgage and car payments. Automotive leather, as well as furniture upholstery leather demand remains depressed. In times of economic downturn, customers have less flexibility with spending on non-essentials, such as leather goods. With the exception of the luxury leather goods market. Folks interested in this market are not as impacted by change in the economy, so the sector continues to be strong. The sector makes up a small percentage of the overall leather demand and isn't enough to absorb the total hide production. With this being said, the US consumer remains resilient as some retail sales figures such as footwear remain above historic monthly averages. The assumption here is more products on shelves contain less leather and more synthetic fibers due to the limited demand the rawhide industry had been facing during the second half of 2022 and the start of 2023. Cured hides have maintained price levels, but remain historically low in order to keep sellers' inventories moving. Wet blue hides have suffered from the loss of demand from the European Union. Italy is a major buyer of wet blue, and due to the energy crisis and inflation, demand continues to be extremely weak. As reported to the Jacobson, prices for this material average around $7 to $10 less than cured hide material, depending on the selection and seller. This is very unusual, the significant price spread between wet blue and cured. Slaughter has been reduced this year due to high kills in 2021 and 2022 due to the elevated beef demand, drought, and hide feed costs. The slightly less supply helps sellers maintain their hide prices, but demand has not been sufficient enough to allow for much price improvement. We are currently at an estimated 3.6% deficit of hides compared to the same time of the year prior. Over the next 6 weeks, slaughter is forecasted at a deficit of 2.1% from the same time period last year. Cured hide buyers have become recently more active in the market, most likely due to the attractively low price levels and the better quality hide in the spring and summer season. Hide quality improves in the winter months, which encourages buyers to buy now to take advantage of the higher quality material. These buyers are currently taking shipments without many claims, whereas several months ago, it was the opposite. Wet blue buyers, however, are more inactive this year, while the European Union continues to grapple with the war and the energy crisis. The estimated 2 million hides that were not reported to the USDA were likely sold to the gelatin industry or sent to landfill. Gelatin buyers have been very active this year due to the globally low prices of hides. Buyers are said to have full inventories, which have begun to drive prices down for hides and gelatin. Sellers also reported a large volume of lower quality hides, such as branded cows. They had been sold to the gelatin industry as well, and they have been included in the USDA's reported sales category. With such low prices, sellers have been faced with taking sales into gelatin or sending the hides to landfill. It's actually more profitable than curing or trading, and it allows them to move their inventory to make space for the incoming. So now things have recently improved. Moving forward, the industry faces the same macro issues with inflation, war, interest rates, and the risk of synthetics. But over the last week and this week, sellers have been more optimistic that prices have reached a bottom. Order volumes have remained consistent over the past several weeks, and there has been less of a fight on price at steady and sometimes higher levels for steer hides. Cow hides remain difficult to negotiate prices on, but for the most part remain unchanged. As mentioned prior, seasonally, summertime hides are of better quality, so buyers have been active because of this. Shipments are likely to arrive July or August if purchased now, which brings us to a typical seasonal peak for footwear tanners. The footwear industry makes up a majority of the market, a bit over 50%. Bidding activity as of recently has been very active, especially from China, which is the US market's largest buyer. Also, big brands have marked down items to move products off of their shelf so they can renew their product lines. This may encourage more hide buying in the near term. This is a strategy big retailers will use in times of economic downturn to discount older items to sell quickly and then bring in new products to entice customers. It's too soon to expect improvement to come with confidence, but there has been a few bright spots reported over the past 2 weeks. The same macro issues remain, and until there's improvement with war and inflation and or a shift in consumer mindset regarding leather, that it's a preferred material in consumer goods, significant and price increases are unlikely in the near term. Thank you so much for listening. If anybody has questions, the floor is now open to the audience. You guys can type them in and I should be able to read them. Just have to look for where that's supposed to come up. Or maybe because we have such a small audience today, what I can do is allow, well, this is what we'll do. Raise your hand and I'll allow you to speak and you can ask your question verbally, and then I will be able to answer to everybody. All right, Ryan, you're first.
You mentioned 2 million hides going to gelatin. Is that collagen or gelatin production that's going to?
I'm not sure if people can hear, but I'm unable to hear. Let's see.
Any chance now or no? No.
Okay, Ryan, try again.
You mentioned 2 million hides are going to gelatin production. Is that gelatin?
Okay, still no volume is coming through on my end, so change of plans. Let's go back to the original plan. Please type in your question and I will read them. Sorry. Okay, I have a couple coming in. Let's start with this question. Do you see shipping issues continuing into and out of Asia? As of right now, shipping has actually improved. I had heard earlier this week that there has been lower freight rates, which is encouraging more purchasing right now. I know a lot of contacts out of Asia, in particular the Chinese tanners, have been complaining a lot about the devaluation of the RMB to the USD. But with freight rates declining, that seems to offset the issues that they're seeing with the devaluation of the currency. So it's looking like things have been improving out of Asia. Okay, so you mentioned 2 million hides going to gelatin. Is that collagen or gelatin production? Both. So it really depends. We don't cover that market in depth, and I can ask more of our sources that do mention that their sales are going into collagen and gelatin, which it is, but they tend to sell the items, and then whoever it is that they're selling it to then handle the sale to the gelatin or collagen, but I do know it's to both. Okay, do you have any market information regarding Canadian side of the business? So we speak with a few traders and sellers out of Canada, but they are selling US material. But we do not cover pricing of Canadian material. Any guesses on timing of US cattle herd rebuild? Previously, when I spoke with other analysts in our under the Jacobson, the idea was it will be coming over the next 2-3 years. Historically, this has been the case. Once there has been a decrease in herd, it usually takes 2-3 years for the rebuild to occur. And that seemed to still be the case. Okay, I do not see any more questions. I'll give it a little bit to see if someone still has one and they're shy. Oh, I just saw one come in. Great. Why not separate packer versus processor reports? So some of our customers like the price spread, the low of the market to the high of the market, because they'll use the average or the price per pound average in their contracts with their buyers. So it's been something we've discussed several times with the industry, as well as the other analysts and under the Jacobson. And it just has been the most useful, most beneficial for our customers to have that low to the high. If you are a subscriber and you can see our price guide, at the very top of the price guide, there is a button where you can click view Packer hide price guide, only Packers, and you can click on that and it will only show you Packer quotes. Okay. We have no more questions. Let's give it another minute to see if somebody has one that they can come up with. And we have plenty of time. We have until 9:45. So. And if anybody comes up with a question that they just later on, please send me an email or call, text anytime. I'm available. Okay, will a link to view this recorded webinar be emailed out? Yes. So those who had attended will receive a recorded, the whole presentation recorded again, and the question and answer section. It will be sent out to you guys once this is over. Do you see any trouble in the coming months with freights within US? So from the information that we were able to collect, looking recently, it seems as if there's no issues in getting containers. The contacts that I've been speaking with, sellers in the US market, have been able to receive their containers without difficulty. And so the assumption there is due to the depressed economic situation that we're currently in. And so, yes, so it seems as if sellers are having no issue receiving their containers, which has helped streamline shipping. Now, if we see improvement with war, overall inflation, if we see improvement within the economy and there's more consumer spending and increase in the confidence with the consumer, now then we might see more difficulty with shipping and availability of containers. All righty, it looks like we are done with questions. Please, again, if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out anytime. You have my information on the slide. And I look forward to speaking with you guys moving forward. I hope everybody has a nice day. Thank you so much for attending. Bye, everybody.